Hello again, and welcome back to Onfleet's Cannabis series for 2022. I'm Steven, and I'm here today with Luis Rivera, the Director of Business Development, and Keenan Thurman, the Strategic Partnership Coordinator at SpringBig. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Doing good, Steven. Thanks so much for having us.
Each to tell me a little bit about yourselves and what you do at the company. So, Luis, I'll start with you. Can you tell us what does your role entail, and how did you end up in this business?
Absolutely, yeah. So again, I'm Luis Rivera. I'm the Director of Business Development here at SpringBig, and my role here has always been very much retail focused. So I've been with the company for almost 4.5 years now. Funny enough, I started out as an intern. I was actually still in college when I started, my tenure here at Spring Big. And yeah, 4.5 years later, I'm now helping manage and train our retail sales team. I do sell into our more, strategic and enterprise accounts. And I'm also the one that they, ship out to all the conferences and trade shows and things like that. So if you're ever at the Hall of Flowers and the MJ BizCons and things like that, I'm usually the one, holding down the booths there. So be sure to come say hi if you ever catch us in the wild.
All right. And Keenan, you're a Strategic Partnership Coordinator. What does that entail?
So I just oversee kind of the day-to-day operations between Spring Big and its partners. So, we have a plethora of partners across different verticals of the industry, from e-commerce to POS to logistics with Onfleet, obviously, and digital marketing as well. So I just kind of manage those relationships with those different companies that we have partnerships with, support the sales team by exchanging leads between us and our partners as well. So that's pretty much a lot of what my position entails. I actually started out as a SDR with SpringBig about 2 years ago. Actually, my 2-year anniversary was actually just last week on 420, ironically enough. And me and Lewis actually worked really closely together, and we covered the California territory together. What was that, about a year ago, Lewis?
Already. Wow.
Yeah. So me and Lewis have worked very, very closely together here at Spring Big over my tenure. So it's been great.
All right. So just to be clear, that was a coincidence. You don't do all of your onboarding on 420.
No, that was just like really ironic, like type of thing. So I mean, it was great. It was fitting, obviously, and that's been a great time here at Spring Big.
Yeah. Can we hear just a little bit more about what SpringBig does? I mean, what is the core mission of your company?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Spring Big is a loyalty and digital messaging platform for cannabis retailers and brands. So essentially, we started out helping dispensaries with rewards programs and text and email marketing. And then with the launch of our brands platform in 2020, we now have a co-marketing ecosystem where pretty much brands and retailers can collaborate on campaigns right on the Spring Big platform, which I'd say is our biggest differentiator. And then we also have offerings for referrals programs, customer feedback, and we also started building mobile app experiences. So, like with the Apple App Store and the Google stores recently loosening up on cannabis businesses, we did start building custom loyalty and messaging apps. So, I know that was kind of long-winded, but I guess when you boil it down to its most, simple form, pretty much Spring Big is a digital marketing platform for cannabis businesses.
You alluded to some recent changes and sort of opening up of the space, which has been a common theme of the conversations that I've had for this show. We are talking, just for reference, in late April of 2022. And I'm curious to hear, like, what is going on in this space right now? My impression is that, yeah, a lot of things are opening up and becoming legal, or if they already were legal but complicated, becoming a little bit less so. What's happening in the space right now, and where does Spring Big stand there?
Absolutely. So you see kind of both, right? You see both the opening up and unfortunately the cracking down at the same time. Like for example, just last week we saw states like New Jersey go recreational, which is amazing, seeing more markets open up and mature and go recreational, which is great. But on the marketing front, unfortunately, this industry, it is very strict. It's under, heavy scrutiny, which is unfortunate. Like I know kind of our expertise is around like the text message and email marketing, where there has been, a lot of crackdowns this past year. And we really have had to pivot and kind of roll with the punches and pretty much last year, something went into effect called 10DLC, which are kind of new rules and regulations that cannabis businesses have to abide by, in terms of text message marketing and communicating with customers and things in that nature. And pretty much now with 10DLC, companies like us, we now have to register all of our phone numbers. What are these channels used for? What are people saying through these channels? So text message marketing, unfortunately, has, gotten a little bit tougher, with cannabis businesses. There are companies, out there like SpringBig trying to do it the right way and follow the rules, but there's not many. So when it comes to, digital marketing, it is, you do have to navigate the waters, and they're not always easy.
Yeah, I'm just curious to hear a little bit more about that. What was your company's sort of reaction when these laws came into effect, and how can you help dispensaries that are struggling to get in line with DLC compliance?
Absolutely. So there's a very common misconception in the industry right now, and quite frankly, a lot of misinformation, that's going around. Some people think that, compliant cannabis text messaging can't be done, entirely, which just isn't true. It isn't as easy or inexpensive as it used to be, but there are companies out there that, are trying to do it the right way. And so as we mentioned, 10DLC, it did go into effect last year, but thankfully, here at SpringBig, we were prepping for this for probably a year and a half or 2 years. So we did know this was coming down the pipe. We didn't know the exact time or the exact date that these crackdowns, were going to go into effect. But thankfully, we have a whole messaging team, a whole engineering team that was, preparing and getting ready for the big 10DLC switch. And yeah, essentially here at SpringBig, we developed, a new style of messaging that's not only compliant and getting through to these carriers, but actually you can say whatever you'd like to say again. You can post pictures of cannabis again. So really SpringBig is a really unique solution because not only is it compliant and compliant with the carriers, but you really do get that creative freedom back. For a long time, people were like, oh, wait, what can I say? What can't I say in a text message campaign? So us developing this new style of messaging, it has taken a lot of the guesswork, out of creating these marketing campaigns, which is nice.
Okay, and just because you mentioned that, just curious if you could share with our listeners, like generally, what can you and can't you say? What are some of the restrictions that we're seeing?
Yeah. So in a text message itself, I mean, you can't mention anything about cannabis promotions. You can't mention anything about pre-rolls or, any sort of cannabis lingo. It really doesn't fly with these carriers. And what's interesting is like, not only are the carriers blocking the words that you say, but then they started blocking the pictures that you include and the websites and the links that you include, with your text messages. So, really it's not only the words that you say, but even the pictures that you include and the websites that you include in your text message. If it directs someone to, an online menu or, blatant cannabis content, even that can affect deliverability and, just reliability of your text messages.
That actually sounds like quite a challenge to effectively market something when you can't mention the specific products or link to a page that mentions them. How do you get around that? I'm curious.
Absolutely. So with our new Stashboard style of messaging, essentially it's a template style message. And, out of the box, a SpringBig client will have 30 or 40 of these templates to choose from. Our marketing team is always uploading new messages and new notification templates and things like that around like holidays. I know we did a bunch for like St. Patrick's Day and 420 and things like that. And actually within the notification message, you have an encrypted web page that we call the Stashboard. And on the Stashboard is where you can totally let loose. You can talk about cannabis, post pictures of cannabis, post deals and things like that. So really keeping that cannabis content off of the text itself, it's really been the best way to fly under the radar and just make sure those messages that, retailers are paying for are actually getting delivered.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you for spelling it out. This may be a question for you, Keenan. I'm not sure, but I wanted to ask, how your partnership with Onfleet began and what that actually looks like. Like, what does your work with them actually entail?
So I am actually not all the way sure when the partnership began. I kind of came into the partnership role like a year ago. And I know we'd been working with OnFleet like prior to that. So yeah, I mean, basically a lot of what, our partnership is surrounded around is obviously you guys are into logistics, and there are a lot of territories and states within our country as well as Canada that do cannabis delivery. There was a lot of synergy here. So when you kind of marry what we do and what also OnFleet does, it just makes sense. And so we're able to refer each other opportunities in the forms of, prospects, leads, if you will. You guys know how to position us really well. If you're talking to a client who does delivery, in California, and they, hey, you guys need, a loyalty system or, texting services. You guys as reps know how to position us to say, hey, you guys ought to talk to SpringBig. They're doing everything correctly. They know how to text compliantly. This is a conversation you need to have with them. So you guys are actually able to hand off warm introductions to us and vice versa.
Okay, cool. So if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like it's kind of about just the synergy between like companies that are doing different but maybe adjacent stuff on behalf of dispensaries to make their work easier or possible. And yeah, it's kind of about building relationships and being trusted partners to places like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, that's very nice to hear. And you mentioned loyalty programs. What can a dispensary expect when they adopt a loyalty program? And can you tell me a little bit about the programs that you guys offer or run?
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty much SpringBig offers a loyalty program that's fully integrated with the retailer's point of sale and actually extends into the customer's phone. So through the point of sale integration, the retailer will never have to worry about like a manual check-in process or like tablets for people to check into every time. Like through the integration, like the customer experience is seamless and really just business as usual, right? So just people, they come, they shop, and as they're walking out of the store, their phone is going to buzz with a little loyalty wallet for them to save up points. And yeah, so that's how we extend the loyalty program into the customer's phone. So it's displayed either via a web app or actually even a native app on the App Store, which is now a possibility, which is super exciting. So that's really what we wanted to do is provide retailers with a loyalty program that's fully integrated with their tech stack and extends into the customer's phone. So essentially the customer can be, at home on their couch, keeping track of points and what deals are going on. And that's kind of the big piece right there.
So my local dispensary just has like a punch card system, like at a sub shop or something. You're telling me that they're a little bit behind the times, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty old school. So we take a much more, digital approach. And yeah, the integration with the point of sale, it really unlocks a lot of really cool insight, automation, and just like smooth day-to-day operations. And actually we even started integrating with all of the cannabis e-commerce platforms as well. So like not only can customers redeem rewards in store, but actually now when they're checking out online, we can automatically link their SpringBig wallet so they can redeem those rewards and those offers when they're checking out online, which has just been huge, these past couple of years with all of the pickup and the delivery orders and all that good stuff.
And actually, since you mentioned it, yeah, I'm curious. Like, I've sort of stopped asking this question because we're just in a new normal now. But I am curious, like, how you guys had to change and adapt when COVID hit. And if I'm hearing you right, and I think I've heard this from other people in the industry, like, it really sounds like it accelerated the whole delivery or sort of like drive-through mode of purchasing. How did that affect SpringBig?
So we were in a really, really fortunate position when COVID happened. So we were one of the fortunate businesses that really did excel and really did continue to grow through all of the COVID lockdowns. And I think when it was announced that cannabis was, an essential business and those businesses were going to remain open, that was a pretty crazy moment. And really, the usage of our platform really blew up. And really, then more than ever, dispensaries and delivery services and brands, they needed a reliable platform to communicate with their customers, provide updates. We're really in a fortunate position when all that went down. Not every business can say the same, unfortunately, but we did see a lot of growth and, a lot of usage on the platform during that time.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure that your customers were too. I wanted to ask, like, what have you heard from your clients, dispensaries, or maybe customers? Like, what are they saying about SpringBig, and what have you learned from that feedback?
Yeah, so I'd say there's a few differentiators, when it comes to our business and our platform. So I think we took a real customer service oriented approach when it came to running our business. So in terms of onboarding, in terms of ongoing support and customer service, like that support is always something that we've, taken really, really seriously. Like, for example, with onboarding, if you decide to move forward with SpringBig, like we're not just going to toss you this platform and say, hey, best of luck. But, we have a whole onboarding team that's going to host training sessions. They're going to help you import all that data. We're going to build and design that program with you. And then for ongoing support, you actually get a dedicated account manager. So if you ever have questions or, training on a new feature, whatever, we do take that customer service really, really seriously. And secondly, we invested heavily into partnerships and in integrations. We're integrated now with like the top, 30, 35, tech providers in the space, whether that be point of sale, e-commerce, data. We really saw the value in integrations really early on. And I think our clients really enjoy the flexibility that they get in terms of SpringBig and our open API, which is awesome.
I just have a couple more questions to wrap up. And one is just looking forward for either or both of you. What's happening at your company or in this space right now that has you really excited?
Yeah, you got to love the speed at which this industry moves. So, right. So it's been really exciting to see the growth of not only our company, here at SpringBig, but also the growth of our, partners like Onfleet. I mean, we're super lucky to be partnered up with a company like Onfleet. So I know there's tons of growth and success in your guys' future as well. And just all the M&A that's going on right now. Companies are merging and getting acquired, and it's a really exciting time to be a part of this industry. That's for sure. I'd say something I'm, really, really excited about is here in the next month or two, we'll actually be going public. So SpringBig in the next month or two will become, a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ, which is just unreal and something we're all super, super excited about. So obviously lots of really cool stuff and cool features that'll be coming really soon from us.
All right. Well, Lewis, Keenan, thank you so much for joining me. And before I let you go, I just wanted to ask if listeners want to learn more or get in touch, where can they go?
Absolutely. So you can always reach out to me. You can email me directly. I'm on LinkedIn. So my email would be lrivera@springbig.com. And if you ever wanted to book a demo or take a closer look at the platform, you could always go to springbig.com and throw some time on our calendar. We're always happy to meet up.
And same here. My contact information, kthurman@springbig.com. So, I mean, as for me, if there is anyone out there with any partnership questions or any questions about integration, no matter what sector of the industry that you're in, feel free to reach out to me with any questions.